Do not add or take away from the Bible. Deuteronomy 4:2. You shall not add to the word which I am commanding you, nor take away from it, that you may keep the Torah of Yahweh your Elohim. Yahweh's command is clear and simple, but let's look at a few examples of how this commandment can be broken. The Pharisees and Sadducees of Yeshua's time were setting aside the Torah in order to enforce their man-made traditions, as we see in Mark 7. In Mark 7, Yeshua and his disciples were eating with unwashed hands, and the tradition of that time was that if you ate before you washed your hands, then you have sinned. We know, according to the Torah, that eating with unwashed hands is not a sin. So Yeshua responds to the Pharisees and Sadducees in Mark 7, verse 8 through 9 by saying, neglecting the commandment of Yahweh, you hold to the tradition of men. You nicely set aside the Torah of Yahweh in order to keep your tradition. These traditions were taught and upheld to the point where they began to replace the Torah. Throughout the Gospels, we see Yeshua rebuking them for adding traditions and setting aside the Torah. How about Christianity? Christianity has done the same, setting aside the Torah and putting tradition above it. One example is the tradition of Sunday worship. Worshipping on Sunday is not a sin. But the sin occurs when one puts Sunday worship above the biblical Sabbath and even takes away the Saturday Sabbath altogether, which has obviously occurred in today's church. These are just two major examples of many. Believers like to add tradition and begin to uphold tradition above Torah, even to the point where the Torah is set aside. Deuteronomy 12, verse 32, whatever I command you, you shall be careful to do. You shall not add to nor take away from it. Remember, having traditions isn't a sin. We can still have birthdays, graduation ceremonies, Thanksgiving, worship on Sundays or any day of the week, washing your hands before eating. These are all okay to do. But sin occurs when these traditions become enforced as a law and then begins to put away and replace the Torah altogether. Now that's adding and taking away, and that is a sin. Be sure to test all things and remember, make sure you are not replacing Torah with man-made tradition or putting tradition above his Torah. If you like this video, please share and subscribe. Thank you and shalom.